I'll now pose the first question of the evening. We have a flourishing economy in spite of, or perhaps in the short term because of, annual trillion-dollar deficits. Is this healthy for America? And if not, what will you do to stop it, including specific changes to taxes or specific spending cuts? Kathy, you're up first on this one.
Okay. So, first of all, it is not healthy for America to be spending way more than we're bringing in, any more than it would be healthy for you in your own household to go out and buy groceries on your credit card that you can't pay off and that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and all you're doing is paying the interest. It's not healthy for our country. Most corporations can't do it, municipalities can't do it, the state can't do it, which is why we need a balanced budget amendment. But first, we actually have to have a budget. And so that's one of the reasons why you need somebody who, by the 35 years worth of experience of their career, has been budgeting from small families and individuals all the way up to corporations on how to manage cash flow and how to make sure you pay for the things that you need in life. That's what I've been doing all these years, and did it from zero. Didn't have a single person to help me. One of the hardest industries in the country to make a living and actually be successful, something like 95% turnover. But at 22 years old, I built a business doing exactly that. Now, why is it so important? Right now, we have a strong economy because of several important principles that President Trump came right in and with his fantastic cabinet, especially Larry Kudlow, put into place, which is cutting the corporate tax rate so that we were competitive with the rest of the world. We didn't have to be the lowest, but we couldn't be the highest anymore like we were. And the second thing he did is that he did a tremendous amount, as you know, of deregulation. He also cut taxes for everyday Americans, and that was a great thing because it meant more money was in your pocket. And what Nancy Pelosi called crumbs is a lot of the money that people have been able to go out and spend on their homes and on their families and have the best holiday season in a long time. I say all this because the way to cut our deficit is to actually go back and use the tools that are in place while the economy is strong like it is now. There's a list every year called the Government Accountability Office Report that shows redundancy and waste, and that list usually has at least hundreds of different items, and yet nobody ever does anything with it. They tried Simpson Bowls back in 2010 and put it on a shelf. That was about cutting waste. And you know what? When the economy's weak, you can't do it. We've got to do it now. We've got to send somebody to Washington who can. Thank you.
We've all heard the saying, take from Peter to pay Paul. With the Democratic leadership in there, nothing's going to happen. We've got to clean this house out. When we look at what's going on now, look at Barack Obama. Even George Bush had something to do with this, in the Clintons. Okay, spin, 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 spin. Right now, we've got a president in there who is turning things around. To give you an idea, when I was in the Oval Office on the 20th, he gave me a pen that he signed some legislation with. And he said, Chris, when I got here, these pens were $1,150. I got them down to $1.45. And it's a Sharpie with his name on it. I was checking my pockets. I thought I meant to bring it in. But until we clean out this House of Representatives, we're not going to be able to do anything about this. To me, it's naive for any of us to think that a freshman congressman could go in there and have that big of an impact on something like this, because senior members of Congress haven't been able to fix these problems in many, many years. As your freshman congressional member, I would go in there and handle the day-to-day things that are messing with this country. Asylum reform, take off the pressure of the border wall, build the wall, school safety. I'd like to see a police substation in all these schools. I want to get a job first on the committees of infrastructure and highways so I can leverage my relationships and bring that money back here to the Lowcountry and fix those things. I'd like to be able to fight against opioid abuse. There are a lot of things that we have to handle as freshman congressmen. And then we identify those senior members who have traction, who are able to get some more traction. You're only as smart as the people you surround yourself by. As we grow and mature from freshmen into the House of Representatives, then we'll be in a position to tackle some of the bigger things. But I think we should hit the things that are affecting this country on a day-to-day basis.
All right, so the question, let's go back to the question, and it's about these annual trillion-dollar deficits and really the fiscal state of our economy, the fiscal state of our union. Congress representatives, congressional representatives and senators, they're fiduciaries. That's really what we are. And it's a mess. It's a complete mess. Kathy's exactly right. There hasn't been a budget in 10 years, 10 or 12 years. That has to happen first. You cannot run your home without a budget. You can't run a business without a budget. Again, as an entrepreneur, when I sold my heating and air conditioning and refrigeration company, it was a $10 million a year company. I ran the budget of that company. We need that expertise. You see, because a lot of this is not what you've done. That really doesn't matter. We took a poll, it's probably 6 1/2 dozen another. I would rather tell you what we're going to do. So it is that budget. It is cutting taxes. As Kathy mentioned, the GAO report and the OMB, I took a copy of the Office of Management and Budget last February, over a weekend, sheltered myself away. $1.7 trillion is what I found to cut. The old days we used to hear people talk about, gosh, the government's buying $50 toilet seats. It really happens. It really happens. It's amazing the amount of money they spend on the mating habits of the tsetse fly. The list goes on and on. So if a working man's man from South Carolina can find $1.7 trillion in 48 hours, when you send me to D.C., imagine what's going to happen. Those relationships have already been built. We need someone with a backbone, someone who isn't afraid to step out of line. And I would ask you all, check me out. Listen to what I've done on county council. It was this week that we have stepped out of line, and we are bringing corruption away from at least Beaufort County. Thank you.